candidates. Once again, I'm here. Lulet Ramadan is my name. I hope you are all fine. I'm happy for many of you who are following our lessons. I have people like Muhammad Ibrahim, and then Muhammad Ibrahim. Thank you for the great work you're doing, you're following, and I wish you success. Rania Hassan Nasali, you are doing a great job. Twale Isaac, all those, Aronda Adrian, and many others that I cannot mention now. Thank you for following, and I pray that the Lord touches you as you're trying, that the work of your hands shall be blessed. In our lesson today, we shall begin by looking at answers to the previous activity that I gave you for lesson 10. The instruction where you were supposed to rewrite the sentence in the correct order of adverbs. And our answers are supposed to be like this. The sentences were not arranged well according to the order of adverbs that we had just learned. Now these are the answers. Let me hope if you answered, your answer is like this. Number one, the girl is lying comfortably on the bed. Comfortably is an adverb of manner, and it answers the question how, and it should come first before we mention the adverb of place. Masaba shouted loudly in class at 6 a.m. Loudly, an adverb of manner. In class, an adverb of place. At 6 a.m., an adverb of time, in the order of how, where, when. We shall wash our hands thoroughly at home before lunch. Okay? I know some may have said, we shall thoroughly wash our hands at home before lunch. The two are fine. The priest dressed smartly in church last Sunday. Smartly is an adverb of manner, in church, place, and last Sunday, that is for time. So if you answer as well like that, bearing in mind that you are supposed to write neatly, punctuate the statement correctly, then I think you deserve a mark. Having looked at that, let us straight away go to our lesson for today. And in today's lesson, like I promised you, we are going to look at formation of adverbs. This is lesson 11, and we are looking at formation of adverbs. Don't forget, adverbs are words used to describe or modify or talk more about verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They are used to answer the questions of how, where, and when. We saw classes of adverbs, and we said there are 6 of them. These included adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of frequency, adverbs of degree, and lastly, adverbs of duration. Let me hope you are able to remember all those. Even we listed some examples in each class. Please don't forget. We have looked at position of adverbs in a sentence. Don't forget, at the beginning, within the sentence, and at the end. And then we also looked at order of adverbs, considering the 3 classes, how, where, when. Someone sent me an audio, said he has discovered a mnemonic for this and was calling it Hawiwi. That seemed nice if it can enable you remember all the classes. H stands for how, W stands for where, and the last one stands for when. So that is what we consider in the order of adverbs. So now, formation of adverbs. You realize that these adverbs, many of them are formed from other words. Okay? But how do we form them? First of all, most adverbs, especially adverbs of manner, are going to be formed from adjectives. Okay? they are formed from adjectives using the suffix ly. I hope when I talk of a suffix, you know what I mean. We have two categories of affixes, okay? And an affix is a group of letters that are added either at the front or behind a word to change its meaning. For example, we have a word like use, okay? This is the original word, which we can call the root word. I can put a word behind and I change its meaning. I can put the word miss and it will change to misuse. So now it has changed the meaning. Okay? Now this one is an example of an affix. I can even, maybe if I've not put this one, I can put the word ful to make it useful. Okay? This is also an example of an affix. I can even go as far as adding another one to this, that is ly, and it becomes usefully. You see that? I'm playing around with the same word to change. So these words that we keep adding to other words to change their meaning are the ones we are calling affixes. Now, if you add it this side or before the word, then it will be called a prefix. And if you add it after, it is going to be called a suffix. So when we are forming adverbs, we are basically going to base on suffixes, those we add after the word. Okay, and I have said that we are going to use the suffix ly that is going to be added to different adjectives to change them into adverbs. Now, look at a word like useful. Look at a word like easy. Look at a word like brave. Look at a word like able. Okay? I have said we are going to use ly, but we need to know, is it going to be automatically adding of ly? When I add ly here, will it be fine? When I add ly here, will it be fine? What if I add ly here? Is it fine? Let us check here. Okay? Look at all the four words. Bravely, usefully, easily, ably. But these two will create a query. When you look at this one, the first one, it is very okay, because when we add ly, the spelling is still true. When we add ly, fine. But now here, there is a problem. And then even here, there is also a problem. So we need to categorize the way we are going to form the adverbs, even when we are using ly. And that will lead us into the ways of forming adverbs. And we are going to have our work organized in this way. We can say most adverbs are formed from okay? We are saying most adverbs are formed from adjectives in the following ways. So we can begin by looking at the first way. We shall say by adding ly to adjectives ending letter E. Okay? We shall realize that most adjectives that end with letter E we simply add ly and the word becomes an adverb. However, not all of them, take note of that, not all adverbs that end, adjectives that end with letter E, we add ly. We shall see. We can have some examples. This side will be adjective, and this side will be adverb. Okay? Now, some few examples. When we look at a word like brave, okay? Simply write the way it is and you add ly. It has changed from being an adjective to being an adverb. So brave gives us bravely. Another word can be nice. Okay? Even this one ends with E. What are we going to do here? We shall simply add ly and it becomes nicely. You get that? Let us look at another word. Maybe the word is wide. Okay? Wide. What are we going to do here? Following the same, okay, the same format. I know you will be able to answer that. Simply add ly. Now, which word do you think was here that gives us wisely? Okay? I think you are able to do that. Then we have a word like large. This one also ends with E. It will give us largely in that same category. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think let us give at least 6. We can give another one like affectionate. Now this one is quite long. Affectionate. What shall we do here? We have said it ends with E. Simply add ly. Okay? Can I give you another one? We have words like dense. It ends with E, so what are we going to do here? We shall simply add ly. Okay? And maybe lastly, the word which we have just talked about in our topic of letter writing, it will give us sincerely. And that marks end, because there are so many of them. Those few are enough. We can look at another category now. Here we shall say by adding ly to adjectives ending with consonants. Okay? By adding ly to adjectives ending with consonants. This side we shall have adjective, and this side we shall have adverb. Most adjectives that end with consonants, when we are forming adverbs, we simply add ly, just as we have seen in the first category. Can we give an example or examples of them? Okay, we have words like bright. Okay, bright. Bright is an adjective. Can we form an adverb? We shall simply write the way it is and add ly. So the word has changed from being an adjective to being an adverb. Think of more. We have words like clever. Okay? What shall we get from the word clever? We have words like stupid. Stupid. Okay? What shall we get? I hope we shall get the word stupid. You get that? It ends with a consonant. Think of more. We have words like stubborn. Stubborn. What shall we get from the word stubborn? And then, which word, okay, will lead us to a word like new? We are using ly, so I hope you know the word. Okay, new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last example in this category, maybe. We can think of words like cruel. Oh, this one usually disturbs many of us. So cruel ends with a consonant L and it is preceded by double vowel. So even this one we shall simply add ly. So you realize that eventually we have two ll or ll there. So this is cruel, an adjective, and then cruelly, an adverb. Let me give you one stubborn one. We have a word like shy. This one ends with y, okay? But you realize that the middle letter is silent, and that means the first two letters combine to form one sound. Therefore, we don't drop y. We shall simply say shyly. I think those are enough in that category, and many others. So we can now look at category C. Category C, we can say by adding ly to adjectives ending with ful. Okay. We have most adjectives formed that end with ful. So by adding ly to adjectives ending with ful, now we can see examples of those. We have words like useful. Okay, we have words like careful. We have words like peaceful. What are we going to do here? Write the way it is. Useful, copy, useful, and follow the instruction. Simply add ly. Don't say, but L is there. No. We are going to add ly such that eventually it will have two letter L. Get that? So useful gives us usefully, and then in the same way, what will careful give us? Okay? And then peaceful can give us peacefully. You get that? Maybe we can give some more examples there. We have words like harmful. That one will give us harmfully. Now, which word is going to give us gratefully? Okay, let me add this word that disturbs us in spelling most commonly. The word skillful. Okay, skillful is going to give us skillfully. You realize that there is a single L here, and then at the end eventually we shall have LL. This is the British spelling of the word skillful. We have another spelling of the same word, and that is skillful with LL. When you are forming skillfully, it means it will have LL here and LL there. This is also correct, however, American spelling. Okay? So take note of that. And many others, Maybe I can add this to be the last one in that category. We have hopeful. What will hopeful give us? Helpful. What will it give us? Respectful, and so on and so forth. Then we have another category. What are we going to do here? We shall do this. In category D, we are going to do this. Dropping letter E before adding Y. Someone would ask, why are you not saying adding ly? L is already there in this category. You are going to see. So here we have adjective, and this way we have adverb. Okay, let me begin with the shortest. We have this word able. This ends with letter E. Now, in this way, we are going to write ABL, and we leave out E. Then we put there Y. So you realize that LY now is already there. So able gives us ably. We have words like capable. This one will give us capably. Okay, let me not see letter E there. We have words like comfortable. What will it give us? Okay, drop letter E and put letter Y. We have another word here. Okay, if changed, it is going to give us this one. So think of the word. What did you do? You dropped letter E somewhere and you added ly. Others, we have words like favorable. What will that one give you? Okay, make sure you complete it there. And so many others. Able, ably, capable, capably, comfortable, okay, comfortably, reliable, reliably. We have favorable, favorably, and so many others in that category. Drop letter E and add Y. Okay, that is D. Let us look at another one. Remember, I'm not giving all of them. There are so many of them. But when we get a few of them, then we shall have an idea. Even when you get a new one, you'll be able to follow the same format and you do the needful. This is D, now E. By changing okay, here we are saying drop letter E, add Y. Now here we are saying changing Y into I before adding ly. You can see this side will be adjective, okay, and this side will be adverb. So we can get some examples. We have a word like easy. This word ends with letter Y. Do you think we can write like that? No, we can't. So what are we going to do? We shall get this letter Y, change it into I, then we add ly. So it becomes easily. More words in the same way. We have words like busy. Okay? Change Y into I, add ly. To get that, we have words like lucky. Okay? What are we going to do to the word lucky? We have this word here. Okay? That leads us to a word like lazy. You see that? So which word was here? Make sure you write it correctly. More words. We have words like wealthy. It also ends with the Y. What are we going to do? Change Y into I and ly. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lastly, we have words like healthy. Okay? What are you going to do? Change Y to I and add ly. Now in this category, the commonest, we have this word here, which is the commonest, heavy. What will heavy give us? And then we have this one, I know you know, that gives us happy, and so many others in that same category. Okay, now we have some few that are stable. Maybe I can call it an exception. Okay, exception, or we can say exceptions. If it is an adjective, and then this side adverb. I'm giving you two words that have quite a special way and are confused. The first one is the word public. Okay? I know someone will hurriedly say public. You get that? But this is not correct. Copy the way it is as public. Okay? And you simply add a word. So public gives us publicly. You get that? Then the other word which is quite disturbing is the word true. This one ends with letter E. Can we compare it to other words that end with letter E that we simply add LY? If we do so, then the word will be written as truly. But this is not correct. So what do? We shall draw letter E and the spelling true, and we again add LY. Simply one L. So public gives us publicly, and the true gives us truly. I hope you have been able to get that. Now lastly, we can look at adverbs that also function as adjectives. In other words, you don't change them, you use them the way they are. Okay? This can be now category F. Adjectives. Okay, so adjectives that also function as adverbs. I have given you a few of them. We have fast, we have hard, well, pretty, fine. Now, don't disturb yourself saying now fast is an adjective, so I should change it to fastly. Hard is an adjective, I should change it to hardly. Well is, now I don't know what you are going to say. Are you going to say well only? You get that? So well remains well, hard remains hard, fast remains fast, pretty remains pretty, fine remains fine. However, we have this word hardly that exists. Someone would ask, now, what about hardly in existence? In this case, we shall be using hardly as a conditional word. Okay? You have heard words like scarcely, you have heard words like barely, and so on. These words are not going to be working as adverbs in this case. They will be working as conditional words and so on. So we have these words that can mean almost no or almost no. Okay? If someone says I don't have, maybe if someone says there isn't any money in the pocket. Okay? You can use any of these words to replace isn't. Okay? Maybe someone can say there is hardly, there is scarcely, there is barely any money in the pocket. Here we are not using them as adverbs in this case. So take note of that. So having looked at all these examples, I now expect you to complete the dashes that I have been putting, and then you will have been used to how to form adverbs. For now, we shall end there. I want to thank you for following. In our next lesson, we are going to look at comparison of adverbs. God bless you. I remain your teacher, Ramadan.